All right. So, hello everyone, and welcome back to Factorio. Let's click resume. And let's see, when we last left off, I believe we were mostly working back on Novice. We were making some quality stuff. So we've got all of these guys, and we are still a couple high-tier quality modules short, although apparently we are making progress on that, so that's cool. So right, our main limiting factor in the quality is plastic, and at some point we want to consider getting quality biter eggs so that we can then make productivity module 3s with quality, and then that can make everything stretch a lot further. So that's something to definitely consider, like having these red circuits be epic quality productivity modules would be pretty neat. But do we want to just spend more time fixing up the plastic production first? Is there much more that we can do? Yes. Okay, so now we are having coal shortages a non-trivial portion of the time, it looks like. So this coal mine up here, how much coal is there? 500,000. That is quite a lot. Alright, so let's get you guys all productivity moduled, and then we'll find a way to squeeze some speed beacons in as well, which we can just replace. This area doesn't really need the laser turrets for defense anymore, because it's at this point very much interior to the factory. So if we just do something like this, I don't know, something like that, and then pop the speed modules in. Hopefully that will get it done, and hopefully we'll have enough speed modules for it. Okay, we are 78 productivity modules short here, which is kind of surprising. Also, oh, we did manage to break the power grid that goes out to here. So let's replace some of those with some power poles like that, and like that, and then, oh, is this not connected up to anything? It's not. So we have to do all that, and then we have to figure out what is wrong with our productivity module supply here. So we go up here, we have biter eggs going through, and we have all the other pieces, so it's just simply that this is kind of slow. So let's get it going extra fast then, with some more speed modules. Like that. And now our train is stuck. How did that happen? So where are you? You are up here, and you're trying to get to crude oil destination. All 3 stops are inaccessible from current location. Why is that? Oh wait, it's going somewhere now. Alright, where is it going? Up to there. Alright, so it's just... Is it just confused, or... These guys are saying that too? What on earth is going on? Like, my trains are just randomly getting lost? But that one, which said it couldn't get anywhere, has now managed to get somewhere. So I don't know what all that's about. Maybe it's like... I don't know, maybe those signals are doing something. I don't know what would even cause this to be a problem. Because it's not like I have messed around with the train system too much. Alright, we finished another recycling productivity. That's good. Let's just get, I don't know, mining productivity. That could be fun. Alright, so what are these trains doing? So these are the iron ore trains. Both stops are inaccessible from current position. Oh, well that's just because there's trains in them already, right? So, let's see, where are those two stops? We have got we have iron source over here, which should be accessible. And we have another iron source down here, which should be accessible. So what on earth has happened? Why are like all of these... Yeah, so all of the iron trains can't find their way down to here. So I must have set up a signal somehow which broke it. And it's got to be something to do with this, because this is the most recent train-related stuff that I've done. So let's see. We've got this goes down here, that goes up there, there shouldn't be any problems with that. So like, I guess what I'm looking for is if there were a signal like facing the wrong way that was making it impossible to turn around or something. But that goes up and through to there. That goes down and through to there. Okay, now it's just like, how has this happened? Immediately after loading the game, everything was fine previously, and now that I've loaded a game, it's all broken. That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. Alright, so you are one of them. You can't get to the crude oil destinations, which are up this way, right? So you're supposed to be going up through here, along this way, and then, I don't know, down here, and over to all these guys. So like, what, did I cut something off in this area, or what? What on earth is going on? Okay, I guess, so if I click drive remotely, and I just have you go forwards a bit. So we just have to sort of drive you forwards until something changes and you're able to access a destination. How about now? Okay, yeah, nothing there. What if you just keep going past this intersection? Still nothing, and I think this isn't actually... Yeah, this is not actually the way that I want to be going. So we back up. And back up a little bit more. And then we turn to the left here. And go past that. Which could technically be the issue. Yes, okay, so the problem is this intersection in here, I think. Maybe? It definitely shouldn't be an issue. So maybe if I just like put... If I just like put a signal there... No, there's already a signal in that area, so that's definitely not necessary. So why can't you go? You're a crude oil. Are the 2 crude oil spots taken up? So our crude oil sources are like down here, which doesn't have a train in it. Over here, which doesn't have a train in it. And okay, so it is something to do with this intersection. It's gotta be. But I can't figure out why this wouldn't work. I cannot figure out why this would be broken. Like, all the signals going into it are valid. There are occasionally trains running through it. And yet, nothing seems to be working. So my theory on why it's this intersection is because I drove that one train through there until it started working. So let's try doing that again with this iron train. So let's take you, drive remotely. You can't go to Iron Source, both stops are inaccessible from this location. So we drive you forwards. And, okay, I don't remember how we get through this, but yeah, we go up here, past all this. You're still stuck when you're here. So now we turn down this way through that 4-way intersection. Still stuck. And then we... Okay, let's just go through here, even though I'm pretty sure this is wrong. So now we're over here. Still stuck. So let's back up a little bit and let that train go through. Wait, no, that's definitely not where we want to be backing up to. And also there's a train back there, which is probably waiting for us. Okay, that's kind of a pain. So we're going to have to let you get through there. And we have to get out of that block so you can go all the way through. And then you back up, but not that way. You have to back up and turn to the right, which you are not doing. Okay. Turning at intersections is very difficult when doing things manually, as it turns out. So what if we just go back this way and then turn at this intersection? So now we're going this way, and we can get through this intersection over to here. And, okay, here it's still saying we can't get there. So we just keep going. And we're trying to get, like, over to there, potentially. So we just go through this intersection. Still nothing. How is it possible for you to be so bad at getting to where you need to be going? So we pass through that intersection there. Still nothing. Oh, what the? That beacon I placed dismantled a track. Okay. That track must have just been like the linchpin of the entire train network. There we go. So now you're moving through. And we're all sorted out, probably. And yes, all the rest of them have figured it out as well. Very, very sneaky. Alright, what happened right there? Alright, but we're better off now. And this seems to be mostly upgraded. We just need to get these beacons over on this side powered so that these guys can produce as quickly as this other side. So that's that. And now that should be plenty of coal for everything that we need it for. And our plastic supply is still pretty terrible. We still have exactly 0 fresh plastic to spare. And we've got a good chunk of copper and a large amount of iron plates. So this plastic is still like the major limiting factor. But theoretically, we should have extra quality modules somewhere, but I think this guy is yoinking them. We have like 14 of those. So how is none of this running then? So these machines are just going very slowly because we can't speed module them. Alright, so our red circuit supplies down here are good. That one's disabled. This one is getting its red circuits. Right, so this is just working through eventually. It is slowly but surely doing its thing. And is there anything we can do to make this faster, aside from just having more quality modules in here? Not really. Not really. Cyan, hello. We're still trying to figure out this whole quality thing. The problem is we just need so many quality modules to like expand this setup that we need an expanded setup in order to get anything at all. Okay, wait, that's low power? What on earth? Has our nuclear power died? Okay, so this nuclear power up here is working. At least most of it. What about this nuclear power over here? It's working. And yeah, it is working fully. So what's gone wrong? Why is the power grid suddenly so bad? Can I check? So we had a massive crash 34 minutes ago. And that was around when just a lot of EM plants are going. That's so weird. That's so incredibly weird. Okay, I think though, if I remember correctly, we do have the ability to place in one more of these blocks of steam turbines. So let's do that. Oh wait, this whole section up here is, it says they're working, but they're not actually connected. That's what happened. Alright, so you just need to go up to there. And now this whole giant block of steam turbines will kick in, and then power should be solved. Yeah, like it had the little green light on, but it obviously wasn't working. And so we just need to connect it up via power poles, and then that'll be all good. So just gotta wait for those drones to show up, which kind of taking their sweet time about it. Where are those drones? There they are. All right. So we are now connected, and now power grid spikes up. How high is this going to go up to? A good noticeable chunk. Not actually that crazy, but definitely noteworthy at least. And then we need to apparently also connect up this row, which is also not connected up via power. So once we have those two going, we should be hopefully in the clear. Looks like. Okay, yeah, satisfaction is definitely not good enough during the nighttime at least. Maybe we can get solar panels back on and have that be a thing. Okay, so that is another big chunk of power. But do we need to, like... We just need to, like, squeeze efficiency modules in. We can put efficiency module beacons around a lot of these places, I think. Let's see if those can... See if we can just find the space for those anywhere. It's going to be kind of difficult, but just do that. Efficiency modules, we're not going to be able to get all of them, but hopefully enough of them to help out. So those ones are in. These ones we can almost get, and we can do that just by having this. Okay, so we need to have a little bit of belt condensing for this. So you go in like that. And then we can use this space back here for our new efficiency modules. And that means that these long-handled inserters aren't going to be needed. So we take all those out, and then we put our beacons into here. So we can fit them like there, and just sort of get a good couple in. It's not urgent that they be like hyper efficiently spaced, but something like that ought to help out a lot. Alright, so then for these ones, we can't quite get all of them, but we can just do something like that, which should help. And that one is caught in an efficiency module. And then we have all these guys up here. Alright, mining productivity is done. That's good. Let's get... I don't know. So many of these are just extremely expensive. Worker robot speed, I guess, is always nice to have. Alright, so we can, again, just get, like, most of these, if not all of them, in range of efficiency beacons. And then just pop the beacons into all of those spots. And I hope we actually have enough efficiency beacons. It seems like we do. So that should help, at least. Although now our steam turbine power has crashed again for some reason. Although our accumulators have also charged. So that's something. So the EM plants are still up at those levels. Doesn't look like they've dropped that much yet. Although, let's see, just by comparison, these ones are like 400 kilowatts. These ones down here are like 2 megawatts each, because this one hasn't gotten its modules in. So that should make a significant improvement, especially if we also get those over here. So we just sort of pop these in every so often. Get as many of these guys more efficient as possible. Unfortunately, very tight space in here, so it's not going to be quite as easy. But we just do something like that, and that is just free efficiency, basically. So hopefully this will be dropping down now. Okay, I think the reason the steam turbines are dropping down is because our power demand is fully met. So we're up to 3 gigawatts of total potential, which should be fine. That should be enough. This is looking like 2 gigawatts, and it's going to go down a couple megawatts from the efficiency modules. Okay. So this over here is showing like in the 860s. Over here, this was like in the... Why does this side look like it's a lot higher than this side, despite the fact that they're literally the same? That's weird. Who knows? Alright, so then this... We still have extra steam storage in here. So that should be fine, hopefully. Alright, now let's look back down this way. All these chemical plants are doing their thing. And yeah, it's these ones which are taking up like, what, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, like almost 60 megawatts just across these couple machines. And this one efficiency beacon is only able to do so much to help it. The fact that the beacons are just barely too short to be able to reach across 2 lanes of belts is just a constant nuisance. But power should be fine even at night. Looks fine. Okay, we need to look into what does quality power stuff do. So if we get like quality turbines or something, where are those? Steam turbines, consumption and output. So that, I mean, it would be better, but wildly resource inefficient. Same thing with heat exchanger, probably. And same thing with reactors. So yeah, that seems like that would just be resource inefficient. What about quality? Okay, apparently you cannot make quality uranium fuel cells. Good to know. Would have been fun. But sadly not. Alright, so back over to our plastic stuff. This seems to be going now. Power grid. Yeah, power grid should be at least mostly okay, unless we have some big steam drop off or something. In which case we're going to need to add more. But for now, this is fine. And this is going along. We are up to 5 extra quality modules, which are kind of just sitting around doing nothing. So I guess we'd better start putting them back into this ridiculous row. So we get quality modules, epic, and we just assign so that the next couple are all assigned to there. And apparently we have more than those 5 from the factory up to the north, so that's actually... Apparently we have a good chunk of these, so I'm just going to keep keep placing until we have a bit more demand than we're using. So we're just going to do something like that. And hopefully that'll make this more efficient. Okay, right now we have 7 plastic in there all at once, which is pretty great. That's going to be able to almost do something up here. Alright, we have... yeah, all of the quality red circuit production is all just going into here. So the other thing that I want then is quality productivity modules. So let's stare at our biter eggs and figure out how we do that. So I guess we can do this anywhere since they're going to be flying a long ways by drone anyways. So let's just do this somewhere convenient. And this is going to be entirely drone fed, which should be fine. Yeah, I guess we'll just do this over here. Maybe in this area up here, which we otherwise probably wouldn't have much of a use for. Alright, so we get a requester chest, which is going to request the biter eggs. We're not going to bring them in yet because they might hatch and cause problems. But then those get bulk inserted and popped into, I assume, just a line of recyclers. Okay, actually I should make sure that this biter eggs can be quality moduled, right? Are they in here somewhere? No, they're not. Ghost cursor. Okay. Let's just like get a very basic setup to make sure that it works at all. And we're not going to need that many because our supply is nowhere near the plastic supply. So, where was I building this? Up in here. So you go like this, and then over that way. Wait, no, that's wrong. This needs to be facing this way so that it can loop back into the supply. So you need to go something like that. But then the requester chest is going to have to move to accommodate for that. So we take that out, put you there, and can I real quick just get rid of some of those trees? That is incredibly satisfying to watch. Alright. So then we were just going to get a couple of these guys in, give them their quality modules, and we're going to start them off with rares for now. And then we just have a branch off here, which is going to be a passive provider chest with biter. Alright, I don't have to set anything in that. That just works. So this then has to be filtered to epic quality. And then... okay, then what we need to do is we need to somehow make sure that none of them hatch. So step one is just spam laser turrets around here, right? So if we just get, you know, a whole bunch of these guys everywhere. And that should help diffuse any major catastrophes. And then we just get some power poles in. If things go completely south, then this should all help keep that under control. But to prevent it from going completely south, we need some way of disposing of the biter eggs, which we don't want. Okay, I have an idea, actually. I have an idea. So if we just scan here, that can read contents. Okay, what we actually need is, I think we need a drone port. So we get a drone port in there, and let's get this whole thing powered up. So just run that down. Okay, so this connects into the drone port, and we can read logistics network requests, and then let's see, where's the logic things? So we have a decider combinator in here, probably. And so you read into that, and what you're going to say is if the requests for, where are biter eggs? If ultra biter eggs is less, if ultra biter eggs is greater than 0, let's see, we need that to get set in so we can even see what the signals are. So that's reading the requests, so it should, in theory, give like a thing. So we have that. And then what we need is somewhere we have a requester chest which is requesting 100 biter eggs, no, 100 epic biter eggs. So if we have that in, then this is going to see all the requests, and that should include the epic biter egg request, which, again, we're going to set this down to like 5 maybe. So this should basically be like, it should basically just construct the biter eggs to demand so that we don't have any spares lying around when they aren't necessary. So that is in. This is now reading a request for 5 epic biter eggs. Your worker robot speed is increased. Cool, let's do that again. You can never have too much of that. So that is good. Then we just need it to be connected up. Or we don't need that connection. And I think this has to communicate to there, actually. So this is set output side. No, that's probably not right, because that would just flip out which side is filtered and would jam the whole thing if not. Oh, set filter maybe? Yeah, I bet set filter will do it. So then you, if that is greater than 0, you then set a filter of epic biter eggs, which is now filtered there. So if that happens, then we filter the epic biter eggs out to that side. Otherwise we don't. And if we aren't doing that, they should just be cycled back in here and destroyed, just because of the inefficiency. So let's get this all set up. Because spider eggs looping around this way should just be destroyed because it's 75% losses. So we shouldn't have to worry about anything with that. And this is just what we did with the plastic, but smaller, right? There's no weird tricks we had to do here. Not that we had to do, at least. There's some stuff that we had to do there because of the sheer number of items we were dealing with, which will simply not be an issue here. Alright, so then what we need to do is, so if we clear that, now this isn't filtered to anything. So whenever we request the epic biter eggs, we need to make sure that the request doesn't request any extras and it stops requesting once it's done with them. And that should be good. Alright, so yeah, now we go down to here, we throw in a request for a bunch of biter eggs, and then they should come over here and it should start working. Okay, we just lost 7 of something. What has happened down here? Okay, this area keeps getting attacked, and there is a gun here which is shooting occasionally, so that's fine. That means that it should all be more or less under control, and eventually it'll clear that area out. Alright, so that's all good. Oh, I just realized we should, just as extra precaution, I know we have all these laser turrets, we should also just have the Spidertron in the area. Spidertron needs to pathfind around small puddles of water. Alright, so this is getting somehow 100 biter eggs delivered all at once. I don't know why there's that many in the system, but it's probably fine. Spidertron is on its way. So if anything weird happens, Spidertron will be here to help. Alright, and something weird is happening. The eggs are getting all the way past all that stuff. And, right, so the spoil time does go up with rarity, but the biters also get more dangerous, so that could potentially be a problem. So we need to do a little bit of that just in case these later ones aren't going to need to be set up with like quality modules and everything, or with the ultra quality modules. They just need to be there for backup. Alright, so then all of these get inserters, and that goes all the way across. And apparently the power didn't quite make it down to there, so let's get those in. And now all of that giant wave of biter eggs are gone. And we're getting more delivered. So that is hopefully going to just be good. It'll naturally use a bit more recyclers as we get more of the higher tier eggs, just because each needs its own independent recycler, but this should still be more than enough. And a lot of these biter eggs are just kind of close to popping already, which I don't love. How do we have so many biter eggs that are so close to dead? That's weird. What's going on with that? So our biter egg supply is coming from down here, and we actually had quite a few of them in there, and so this has jammed a little bit. Gleba support, how are you doing? are you going to be getting more this stuff? Yeah, you should be, so that should be safe. We just haven't quite managed to get this right so that it actually loops properly. Which means that sometimes there'll be periods where all of this is spoiled, and then that's going to be an issue, but it should be fine as is. I assume we can't, like, speed beacon these or something. That would be very silly. Alright, so yeah. Biter eggs are getting produced properly. And if we checked this, the number in logistics storage is currently negatives, which is good. This area is getting hit again. Let's put in a couple more laser turrets. There are very few problems that cannot be solved with a couple more laser turrets. Especially since these seem to be like physically rushing the walls and breaking through. So the laser turrets have even more time to deal with them. At some point, we should look into with arc turrets or whatever, because, I don't know, they're a fancy new thing. I want to see what that's like. Alright, so let's then set this to be our request for now. So you are going to request a couple of those. And actually, we can just set up the module production, right? So we need to get a couple of EM furnaces, or EM plants rather. They aren't furnaces. And we just sort of did this consecutively here, right? Oh, and this has apparently actually been doing reasonably well in our constant struggle to get all the modules. Steam power is a bit dicey at night, so we are probably going to have to go and get a new nuclear plant, or at least dramatically expand the one we have. But that, we can do that in a little bit. So we get EM plant, beacon, EM plant, beacon, EM plant, beacon, and beacon there. And these are going to be efficiency beacons, because we don't want to use that much power. But these are going to be productivity module beacons, because we do want this to be efficient. So we make tier 1 productivity modules, tier 2 productivity modules, tier 3 modules. Alright, so now we have all of this. We need to get green circuits into this, red and blue circuits across to there. So green circuits go like that, red circuits are there, blue circuits are there, and then past that point they loop down and take over like that. And then we get input, 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 long input, long input, long input. Oh right, we can't productivity module these because of the recipes. I forgot. I always forget that. Seems like you should be able to, but you can't. Okay, so then this makes these, which go forward to there. And in. Then we have that belt end so that this goes forwards to there. And then we have our biter egg belt, which is going to go to there. And that gets the settings. That one just gets removed. I hit the wrong button. Alright, so this, we then need you, and you. And we need that to be an output, that to be an input, that to be a long-handled input. And then we need this to actually output somewhere, so this actually goes back there. And then this can output to a box here, I guess. Yeah, that should be fine. Should be fine for what it is. So, these get... probably bulk inserters will be enough for them. And this is green circuits of epic quality. This is red circuits of epic quality. This is blue circuits of epic quality. So that is all in. And now we just get the power poles, which we're going to use the fancy epic quality ones, because why not? Bam. Bam. How is this not in range of that? These guys have insanely short ranges. Right. Put you up there. And all of this gets built up. And... okay, we need one more power pole up there to get those inputs connected in. And we even have a red circuit or two. Okay, so now we need to do a bit of logic to make these guys more efficient. Okay, why did all of that stuff just go straight through? Oh, because I didn't set these to the right quality. Right, you are epic quality. You are epic quality. You are epic quality. Alright, so that is all in. And now it is just the red circuit supply, which I had some clever way of doing. So how did I do this down here? What did I set you to? Greater than or equal to 4, or less than or equal to 4, less than or equal to 4, and then nothing. Alright, that's easy enough. So you are enable disable on module 2's epic quality less than or equal to 4. You are on module 3's of epic quality less than or equal to 4. And then you are just read ingredients, read ingredients, read ingredients. Or no, not read ingredients, read contents. Read contents and read contents. And then these had including crafting unchecked. So not included in crafting, not including crafting, not including crafting. Alright, so that is all set up properly. And when we very occasionally get red circuits through, we're then doing this with them. And is our plastic supply still working? Yep, this is as good as it's ever been. And we even have 3 spare quality modules there. And if we look up here, we've got another 11 up here. So this one is just sort of objectively faster, huh? Alright, so that's fine. That's what we have it for. Once we get this plastic going better, this will probably be faster at that point, but until then, it's kind of the other way around. Alright, so red circuits are being made slowly but surely. There's no major problems with that. The one thing we do have a major problem with is the biter eggs. So the amount of biter eggs which we're sending in here, we are not getting a meaningful amount out. So, I guess the only thing we need to do now is we do need to get you to read contents of that, and actually wait, no, we need to read contents of this so we don't get biter eggs in requested unless we have enough to actually craft the next module. So, what do we need? We need processing units. What's the recipe? 5, 5, and 4. So we need a logic thing. Where are you? So you don't read directly. Instead, you read through that. So you are input signals. Read contents. And, oh, it's reading across all of these. Okay, that's a bit of trouble, actually. We should do this on the green circuit then, so that it's just separate. Alright, so this is if we have ultra blues are greater than or equal to 5 was the number for this one. And we have ultra reds are greater than or equal to 5. And we have the module 2s at ultra are greater than or equal to 4. Then we output a biter egg request for epic biter eggs and just one of them. And then this is going to be set requests. So this won't set a biter egg request. This should probably be connected via green, not red, right? So if we have all the rest of the stuff that we need, then we'll make a biter egg request. So then the problem with that is that then we have like no buffer of any kind, which doesn't seem ideal at all. So we need to have like a couple stored in here. Okay, so this is what we do. We also have this saying if we have any biter egg requests. We don't actually need that to be an arithmetic combinator. That could just go directly in, right? So that can just go directly in if we need it to. And then we can use this combinator instead. I actually think we want an arithmetic combinator in here. So we get you going into there, and then you are going to be input of biter eggs plus, I don't know, 5. And then output as biter eggs. Oh, you need to be epic biter eggs. You need to be epic biter eggs. Okay, then that sends into that. This one doesn't. Okay. So this is all set up. So now we should have a buffer of like 5-ish epic biter eggs, which, considering how few we need, should be plenty to just keep them going. We still haven't gotten to the point of enough red circuits for productivity modules. This plastic is absolutely brutal. So we need to do something about the plastic. And like, I guess we can just expand more epic quality modules into all of these, but like at some point that really doesn't do much. Like, these ones are not using nearly as many as these ones up here are. I guess it falls off like in this area in terms of products finished. These are in like the 20,000s, these are like in the 40,000s, and past this it's all like 60s and 70s and 80s. So we can get a couple more epic modules into here to make it better, but it's seriously not that big of a deal at that point. So really what we need, above all else, is we just need more plastic to go in to this dang thing. Which means we need more petroleum gas, which means we need more coal, or oil. How is this oil? This is hardly any oil. So that is not encouraging in terms of even keeping this running at its current rate, much less continuing forwards. So that is like all the oil we have. Quality coal for the plastic. Is that better than just doing the plastic directly here? I don't feel like that would be... I guess it would be better for the petroleum gas supply. Yeah, so it would be better for the petroleum gas supply because we would need to only use petroleum gas for the quality stuff instead of all of the massive amounts of regular stuff. That's a good point. I hadn't considered that. I thought it just kind of didn't matter, but it definitely does. Yeah, okay. So I guess, let's see, do we do it in both stages? Let's see, how does... Okay, let's get the Spidertron down here so we can build quickly, just to experiment some. How fast does the coal filter through the recycler? So this is 16 to 4. This is 6.4 to 1.6. And then the coal... Okay, so the coal is actually also just much faster in terms of the numbers of recyclers, because it's better than 2-to-1 ratio, and it's faster. So yes, this is just much better. Okay. So we're going to definitely just do that. That is a very valuable thing, which I should have thought of beforehand, honestly. Alright, so we just need to... Can we just like convert... Can we just like convert this plastic recycling? Just shove this coal belt into here instead. Make this whole existing row coal recycling so we don't have to build a whole new thing. And then send the coal, the quality coal, into here. And then get the plastic out. Yeah, that shouldn't be too hard, actually. Alright, we should be able to fix this relatively easily. Oh, we need to get all of this plastic out first. So we'll just let that cycle itself down a little bit. And then in the meantime, this also needs to be disconnected. We're just going to have to go through and change all of these settings to quality plastic after a while. And actually, we need to get all of this plastic out of the way too. Yeah, okay, this is going to take a while to completely clear out. So we're just going to let the coal drain through to here, which will then cause the plastic to drain, and then we should be all clear. And I think all of this will still be easier and faster than building a whole new setup, like 5 feet to the left or something. Alright, so that is going to go until we run out of coal on this belt. Which is going to take a while because the coal demands of this isn't incredibly high, but that's fine. We'll also get a little bit of extra plastic out of the deal. Alright, so that is doing its thing. What are these random storage? Just like a couple random things in here? Weird. I don't remember why I did that. I do not remember why I did that. So this is doing its thing gradually. I think we can actually upgrade that belt somewhat to make it go even faster, which will probably matter with the coal. Alright, so that goes through. We're just going to get this last chunk of plastic out. And it's draining slowly but surely. How is this still going? Is it just really, really slow to get the artillery shells? Oh, it's because they keep trying to cross the dang ocean and getting confused and stuck on the way. Yeah, this is in an inconvenient place because the robots keep trying to cross this. Maybe with the higher speeds, they'll get there. Although it looks like our science is falling off. So we might have to look into that. Might have to look into that as well. Alright, surely this is close. There's actually a lot of biter signals around. This is a whole giant nest. Alright, yeah, that's going to take a while. Are these all... No, those are repair packs. Okay, yeah, that also makes sense. Okay, so back up to here. The coal in this is starting to drain out. And then we can swap the system over in a second. And then we're going to have to probably either like divert this entire thing into making coal for the quality, or we should be able to just like take a branch off of this side to get the quality, to get more coal over here, because it seems like it's producing more than enough coal otherwise. So that's going. How's our biter egg supply going? Have we gotten any of these yet? Even a single one? No, it should just be a matter of time, and I will also get just the first 4 of those upgraded so that we get a better chance. So that is going to go in. And this is like 90% drained. Just these last couple machines, and then the recycling is actually going to take ages to fully drain because it's like a half-life thing where, you know, every cycle the amount of plastic goes down by a quarter, so it'll take a bunch of cycles for it to be completely clear. But it should be almost entirely clear already because the amount we're sending in is so low. Alright. Just a little bit more. Nice if we could get any more plastic out of there as well. Alright, so that is almost clear. Yeah, we did manage to get like one more ultra plastic out. Or I keep saying ultra. It's not ultra. There is no ultra. It's epic. Alright, so now we just have this last machine, which should be done any second now. Oh, I guess when we upgrade this, when we swap this over, we're going to have to take these beacons out or swap them to efficiency or something because they're going to have the quality decrease chance, which we definitely don't want. So yeah, let's take these guys out. And that should ensure the quality is fine, and based on how fast or otherwise quality production is, the lack of speed modules on this, if the lack of speed modules on this many machines causes an issue, that's a very, very good issue to have. Alright, so that is all in. Now I think we literally just we chop that off. Then this belt just goes into there. Wait, no, wrong. We need it to go through a splitter to that. And we are now quality cycling coal. Okay, then instead of this quality coal output going into here, we can mess with this a little so that it's a more even belt. Then this goes down that way into here. And these get set to make quality plastic. And then this gets pasted across everywhere. Did I accidentally dismantle some of the actual machines? I think I did. Oh well. Alright, so these all get pasted across. And yeah, okay, so some of these inserters... Oh no, these inserters probably just went with... No, I definitely did somehow at some point lose some machines that I was supposed to have. It shouldn't be an issue because we're not going to be using anywhere near all this much plastic. But let's just take them out so that we don't have quality coal sitting in random inserters everywhere. And let's also pick that one up, just so that something at some point works with it. Alright, so this is now doing its thing. But it's just spending a lot of time target full. Okay, we are going to try to just make sure that this always uses stacks. So we're going to run another belt back here and overwrite all that stuff. And then this, we just sort of need to mirror as well, although we might need it to be a little further forward since the coal is a lot quicker. So let's do it somewhere like in here. So you go up to there, around there, and then back down. And then this goes all the way across. And not underground for no particular reason. Alright, so we do that. And then we get stack inserters across to this new belt. And that should ensure that we get... What is going on with all this? Okay, let's just take out the old belt. That's a better idea. Let's just do that first. So this belt is gone. It's not in the way anymore. So you are going to loop back down into that. And now we get to do the stack inserter spamming. Because for some reason, the recyclers aren't consistently sending out full stacks. So they should be capable of occasionally sending out stacks, but they aren't doing it like half the time. And we really desperately need the throughput for this to use the most of the belt. So we just do this and hopefully don't run out of stack inserters to Did I miss one there? I did. Alright, so those are all in. Now, I guess we also do this row down here. So that gets wiped out. That gets built back in. And we pop stack inserters down to here. And that should be all clear. Oh, but we need... Apparently our power didn't quite reach to that side. So let's get the old epic quality of these, because we might as well. And just pop them in every so often. Close enough to get full coverage on everything. Like, that has to be there, so that we don't miss one. That one has to be there, so we don't miss one. And that just keeps on going. And then down to this block here, where we unfortunately need two. So like that. And then let's just get a regular old power pole into that one. Okay. And another regular old power pole into that one. And then this is all set up. Okay, so now we need to jumpstart this somehow. Is this actually just not going to work? Is this not going to work? How did we do this for the iron plates? Because that's the one which just sort of miraculously worked first try. We didn't do anything like that for the iron plates. So the problem here is we're getting like one uncommon and then it's getting stuck. So I want them to just like keep making things and then not doing that. Alright, I really need to get these into full stacks consistently. But the base version isn't doing that, and this version isn't either. Okay, what if we do like a scuffed thing with boxes? So we're gonna have to take this whole belt out again. So that belt all goes away. Now if this outputs into a box, which then outputs onto a belt with the stack inserter, that should be fine, maybe? Because the box should have slots for multiple different things. Okay, we need to move that drone port to get some more space. So you go like there-ish. And we have to take all these extra construction drones out and everything. And we're going to need to take all of that stuff out to redesign it. Why is this Spidertron not being queued to do that? Okay, now it is. Like, one drone at a time. Why is it doing that? You have plenty of drones. Why are you doing this one at a time? Couldn't you dispatch like 10 to do this? I mean, I guess it works. But like, what the heck? Alright, now there's a tiny gap in there. So let's get that drone port in then to cover that. Okay, so this does a bulk inserter then into here, which then does a stack inserter into here. And the stack inserter should be able to do the sorting, hopefully. Alright, let's copy paste this whole setup. And apparently need another belt so that it all lines up properly with the copy paste. Okay, no, we need to just get this over to there. And then we copy paste this whole block with overwriting the previous inserters. And then either this will work or it will break in a new and exciting way, which is almost as good as having it work. Okay, we are running into this pipe, which we can easily move. So you go up to here and over, and then you go like that, then this gets dismantled. We're gonna have problems in this section. I don't know what we're gonna do here. I guess just move that whole thing. Or just like accept that we probably aren't gonna be using this much of it, and it should be fine. Okay, so let's get some more power lines in to fill in those random little gaps. So now, hopefully this will be working. And hopefully this works the way I want it to, and these will occasionally output all of the different types. They might not have enough storage to do it properly, but that's what we're going to have to figure out. Alright, and now the amount of coal going in has decreased dramatically, which isn't ideal, but at least it means we're not going to get jammed in the short term. Okay, so this... yeah, let's just copy this entire setup. Just move you up here to there, and then you output into that pipe. And why is this not working? No light oil barrels. I mean, it doesn't really matter at the moment, but we do need to get light oil barrels going again. So that is supposed to be coming off of here, which is not happening because this is output full on petroleum gas. Yeah, that makes sense. We're gonna have to do something about that. Alright, but that is in up there now. And it's all gonna need to be powered. Wait, what is this? That is for a different thing. So then this, we can take this whole thing out entirely and go back to copy pasting this setup. Need to copy paste the entire thing. Otherwise I'm gonna have to go back and put in a bunch of random belts. Alright, so this goes all the way back to there, through that other random drone port, and all the way back to there. And now we put this drone port back in and power it up. Alright, so this would be working if these guys had enough of all the things for their maximum stack size, which is going to be a bit of a struggle for the epics. I wonder if there's some way of doing that. So all the other ones, the maximum stack size should be mostly okay, just however it's going to be. For the epics in particular, having to gather up 16 of them is a bit of a chore. So we'll have to see how well that works out. I mean, it looks to be doing mostly... So at least up till this point, it hasn't completely bricked yet. So that's good, obviously. We need something to do with all this dang petroleum gas. What does someone do with a bunch of petroleum gas they don't need? I guess we just make solid fuel and then do something with the solid fuel. I don't know. I guess we could just like barrel it and send it over elsewhere. I'm sure there's some other places where we need petroleum gas in the factory. Who knows? Theoretically, once this starts getting any ultra plastic through, then it should do something. So the problem is these guys are all stuck with a whole bunch of epic coal. Okay, wait, I have an idea. If we get a decider combinator in, we can once again use the power of circuit network logic to save the day here. So if you're connected up, we can set stack size to you. And actually, so we might... Let's see, how do we do this? Okay, so we're going to do set stack size. But then you need to get the control signal S, so output. Apparently it's S by default. S is going to be 16 for now. So that should get you doing normal stuff. Okay, what we actually need is we need like each of these to have their own customized check thing. So what I want to do is just like if the amount of stacks in this thing gets too high, or no, if it's just rare, it should eventually get out the rare, right? So I think we just set this. So if read hand contents hold probably. So if hand contents are coal, epic coal is greater than 0, then you get to have a hand size of 1. Oh wait, actually no, we need to do this the other way around. So if hand contents are less than 0, then you need a hand size of 16. Right? So why are you... Oh, it's less than or equal to 0, obviously. Alright, there we go. So now you are doing that, and if you ever get any epic stuff in your claw, then that will be that. Alright, so now we have that. We need to figure out how to scale this so that the entire system works this way. Okay, you have 1 epic coal in there. No, now you have 3. Alright, so yeah, we just need to get the entire system to work correctly with this. And the problem is, I mean, I guess we just need a decider combinator for each of these, because there's no way of doing this without one, right? We can't just have this read directly, and we also can't have it set up so that one decider reads all of those, because they each have their individual inputs. Alright, so yeah, we just need this to go to there. We need it to get the same settings. And we need you to be connected up to both sides. And then we just copy paste that whole thing and just pop it into each of these. Then we can copy paste this larger chunk, so we have to do less clicking. And oh, that manages to barely dodge that random requester chest, which is cool. So these just go all the way across, and we're gonna have to get that one in manually, but also I don't think it matters because none of the coal is getting all this far anyways. Okay, so we need more coal input, so let's make that belt faster, although yeah, so this is just limited by how much input we get. So we need to ensure a large amount of coal input. Okay, then the plastic output, where does that come? That's here and here. So let's just get passive provider chests in those two spots. It's awkward having them right next to each other, but it also is completely irrelevant for anything realistically. Okay, so these ones have plastic bars in them, which they are not happy about. So we need to clear out all these extra plastic bars so that they can get ultra quality plastic bars. And we just do this for all of these guys. And alright, so that's the first row. If we ever somehow get to the second row, we're gonna have to do these as well, which I might as well do. Alright, so this is now getting set up properly. Alright, so that should be that. And hopefully they don't have any spare coal in them. They don't. And they all have their petroleum coke, or petroleum gas. So that's all in the clear. And now this is running. So we do have a whole lot of rares. It takes the rares a decent amount of time to pile up properly. Okay, and this one isn't working. Why not? You didn't get the settings. Okay, so you need to be those two. And you are correct. But that's less than or equal to 0. Outputting is 16. Why is that? So that is definitely greater than or equal to 0. Oh, hold. Alright. Right. That's that whole thing. So we just have to then paste those settings across all of these guys. And a lot of them aren't even getting it, but that's fine. Alright. So that is now going much better. And now we have a whole bunch of stuff getting recycled through, which is marginally concerning. It's especially going to be concerning because it's just kind of awkward to do the old switch around what side it's outputting to trick in here, because we have all of these combinators up at top. There's got to be a way of doing this with like less combinators, and we could maybe just do it like in large chunks or something, but this should still be fine, right? so that is now doing its thing. And these are producing. At least this first one is. So we have a stack inserter of 12 epic plastic bars. Okay, do we really want these to be stack inserters? There's no way that those being stack inserters is necessary. Let's just make this more convenient. More convenient bulk inserters instead. So that they'll just output whenever they have anything, as opposed to waiting for massive drops. So those should be all set up once the drones get around to placing them in. This seems to be working and seems to have way too many of everything. Like, we can probably cut out a couple of these guys to spare on those. Although I guess there's no real... I mean, we have some of these, right? We've got one there, but more importantly, we should have 20 up here. So yeah, we're actually doing reasonably well on the quality module side of things right now. And are these successfully outputting everything? Okay, they are not actually. I know what we need to do. We need more decider combinators in here to make sure we get the regular coal out frequently enough. Because these are definitely filling up over time. And, like, the first one is the most noticeable, but, like, okay, this one, where is it? You're completely cramped. Why? So right, so you're entirely filled up. Can I read from you into something? What options do I have off of a steel chest? Is it just purely read contents? It is purely read contents. Okay, so that is the thing. Okay, so you go into there, and okay, so that is not quite right. So that is just seeing this, and it's outputting anything because there's some epic coal in there. Okay, we need to rethink this somewhat. Really what we need is just, like, we don't have the space for it, but a way of getting two separate outputs of this would be great. Oh, I have an idea, actually. Okay, here is something we can do. If we just have, like, this extra space in here, everything except this one. Yeah, so if we just have this extra space in here, we put just like a random inserter filtered only to epic coal and maybe epic and rare coal, both. So you are set like that as just a regular old bulk inserter. And then this is going to blacklist rare and epic coal. And that technically doesn't have to have the ingredients set, but whatever. So then that just goes up there. So we're not going to be using stacks for the rare and epic coal, just for the other stuff. And that should work, at least for most of this stuff, right? Now we're going to have to do a little bit of redesigning in terms of, like, some of these have power poles in the way, some of them have belts in the way, but that's relatively easy to do. So let's just get an epic quality power pole in there so that it just gets everything covered. And then we just need this to move over slightly to give some space for this last one. So you go over to there, and then you split. And the left side is epic quality only. And we're going to start by just doing that. Oh wait, no, that's wrong. That's the wrong side. All right. So yeah, what we need to do is, at least now it's filtered properly at least. So now we just do that and that, and then aside from this whole wave of coal which we sent in, which is just going to wrap around to the end here, and we just send you back in there, I guess, to get out of the way. So now this is all set up. These ones shouldn't have their issues, and they also won't need the decider combinators. And now we just yoink all of this as our copy paste. We make sure that the one on the right gets it, and then we make sure that all of these guys get it. And then we're going to have to get the power poles back in as well, which should be lined up properly, like up here-ish. So if we just do something like that, the whole thing should get powered up. Alright, so that is going. Now these, we just need to get the extra stuff out of them. So you get removed, and now you're going. You get that rare stuff removed, you get that rare stuff out. And once all of this stuff is just cleared out, we're going to want to filter this back in because it's a lot of good stuff that we've got here, but once it's all out, then we should be in the clear, and this should be all functional. So the uncommons will build up a little bit, but I don't think they'll build up enough that we have problems like the rare does, because uncommons should still be relatively common, relatively speaking. Alright, so then that one is fine. That one is good, and then there's all these ones back here, which I guess we should get pasted in, despite the fact that they hardly ever do anything with it. Alright, and then past this one, like, these guys aren't doing anything, so that should be fine. We should be all set up now. And then these get all cleared out. Alright, so now we have not enough space on the belt for all of this stuff that's getting dumped back in. I don't know if that's actually how much is being output, or it's just because it's been built up all this time. We are putting in one full belt of coal, so our outputs should be like only a quarter belt of coal approximately. So it should be fine. Now if we just upgrade like all of that stuff, then that should make a big difference. And the amount of plastic we have going out seems to be doing a lot better now. So that's cool. We have 7 quality modules in there. And this is going... Yeah, the plastic... The plastic is actually backing up here. That's cool. So this chunk here is running as fast as it can, basically. With this chunk here providing the getting the extra plastic to make the red circuits. So we should also have some of these guys. We're working on it. Alright, it seems like I designed this wrong. Did you... Yeah, okay. It seems like I got this designed wrong, because you're definitely creating a solid backlog of these things, which is not what I want to have happen. So I had that fixed down here. What did you do exactly? Enable, disable, less than or equal to 4. The first one had nothing extra beyond that. Enable, disable, less than or equal to 4. Read contents, not include in crafting, nothing else checked. This is just read contents, nothing else checked. So if we then go back up here, okay, we do have a biter egg. So this is less than or equal to 4, nothing else checked. This is less than or equal to 4. Nothing else. Oh, I have them set wrong. Okay, that's what happened. I had that set to quality modules, which is obviously not what we're doing here. Copied a bit too much there. Alright, so the coal cycling is still going, and this is still... The first couple, at least, are still having trouble outputting enough. The rest of them seem to mostly be doing fine, except that they have all sorts of stuff stuck in their inputs that they shouldn't have. So you get that out. You need to get that out. You need to get all these things out. So we need to just clear these guys up so that they only have the commons and uncommons in them. And this one, what is up with this one? You've got a couple rares left over. And these ones have a couple of those guys. Get rid of those ones. Alright, we're almost there. This one is actually fully empty, which is progress, I suppose. So then, at this point, none of the ones past here are running at all, so we don't have to worry about them as much. We do still need to worry about how fast this recycling is going. We do have to worry about how fast this recycling is going, but it seems like it's working out. Seems like it is working out. And then if any of these... Actually, I can set these to also include rares in their list of things to filter, or I can just manually run through and check them one last time, and it should never be a problem again. Alright. So this is looking good so far. And yeah, at this point, okay, there's some in that one, which is now cleared up. And then we're into these ones which aren't doing much of anything. Alright, so that should be all that recycling sorted out. And now this coal cycling is mostly steady. It's always going to be a little bit inconsistent because of the, like, if it gets stuck on uncommon for a while, that could take a bit. But beyond that, should be fine. Alright, so that is going around. It looks like we largely have enough room to get everything out. And none of these have crazy amounts of stuff in them, except for this one. You are just really unlucky at getting your uncommons out, I guess. That's going to happen occasionally, but it shouldn't really matter. How much coal is left? 400,000. I feel like we may or may not have drained a large portion of that coal out in like the last couple hours. I guess we might end up needing more coal deposits, which shouldn't be terribly difficult to get. Alright, so now this is all going. If we loop up to here, yeah, we've got these. And these are just waiting on biter eggs, which seems like it's very, very difficult to get still. Alright, so our red circuit supply is kind of piling up now, which is actually great, because that's the thing that we were short of. So if we can have a stockpile of it, then that's cool. Obviously, we're not going to have much of a stockpile back here, but whatever. Alright, so then our next step is this biter egg system could theoretically handle, like, way more biter eggs. Right? Like, way more. And it looks like, for some reason, the number listed as on the way is actually quite high. So if we set that to, like, 300, does that magically increase? Or is it just coincidentally somewhere in the 80 to 100 range that are available at any given time? I think it's just coincidentally somewhere in the 80 to 100 range that are available at any given time. Alright, so what we need to do then is we need to get more biter eggs. And also we need to fix this so that this doesn't happen, because this is not good. Alright, so what we need is this to be like that, and then you go into there, and we have input priority left. And that, I think, will just do it on its own. Once the drones get down to do that, that should keep things constantly spinning around. And this area is obviously very far away from anything else, so it's going to take a little bit. Alright, so all of these guys are sending their biter eggs out. Yeah, there's actually like 30 in here at a time, but they are all queued for pickup, so it's not a problem necessarily. Okay, speaking of things that we should be checking here, how's this going? Too many low-density structures, of course. Did we have... I could have sworn we had a system for cycling those down. Did it get stuck? Or does it just not exist? Seems like it just doesn't exist. Alright, well, let's just copy one of these guys. Alright, you get copied. You get pasted. And I'm going to have to walk up there and build it. Or at least build most of it. And then this, we need to clear that out. Configure you to take low density structures. And like 100 or so of them. And then this, going to be set to be low density structures. How many of those can be in storage at any one time? The answer is around 2,000. So this is set to 2,000, like that. And then we just connect this up to the circuit network. Then we connect the circuit network up to the box. And did that do the trick? Do you see it? No, you don't. Did I just like somehow manage to disconnect it from the circuit network or something? It's very hard to tell whether it's connected up or not. Alright, so now it's definitely connected up to that. And this is definitely going. Alright. So that should be clear. And then we've got these random red circuits in here, which we're going to need to sort out. But fortunately, I'm right here, so let's just grab those into my personal inventory. And problem solved. Alright, so Fulgora is back up and running, which should get me the science that I needed, because I'm pretty sure that was something we ran low on. Yeah, we've got 1 electromagnetic science pack there, and 75 there. Alright, so this is indeed properly spinning around now. And whenever anything spoils, it'll just go away into the heating tower. Okay, but the main problem is that we've got 3 of these guys, which we need more. Now, I've deliberately not used artillery in this particular zone, so there are biter nests over there. So we're going to need to do a whole process to get some more biter nests to get that going. In the meantime, how many of these do we have? Just the 1. So we've managed to get exactly 1 through. That's pretty terrible. I thought we would have like 5 or 6. Okay, so first of all, Spidertron is going to run over that way. Second, I think we need a backup Spidertron to do a different thing. So let's get logistics, Spidertron, paste you down, and where is the existing Spidertron? And I don't have like another one on this planet, right? I've moved them all off to other places. Yep. Alright, so we have our new Spidertron, we have our old Spidertron. We need... Okay, you need to stop temporarily. Can I shift-click you up to there? So that sets that and our... Where's our... equipment grid is also set. Alright, so you are getting stocked up. Now, the one change is the weaponry. So you are going to get not the rockets. And can I, like, set that to negative 100? Is that a thing? No. Okay, so that's not a thing. So we just need to remove rockets from that. Add... So you get capture bots, and then this Spidertron down here gets its own custom thing with its 100 rockets. And... Okay, so you are going to need to also get within drone range so that all that stuff can get figured out. So yeah, now you have 100 rockets in your trash slots, and you're going to have to get rid of those 100 rockets and get a new 100 rockets, because the drones are very clever. Okay, so now this one is getting all set up. and it has its capture bot rockets. So this one is going to be the one that catches the nests, while the other one is going to just fight the various biters. And hopefully this works. Hopefully we don't wind up accidentally shooting regular rockets at the nests while this guy is in the area. That would be quite unfortunate. Or even just like if they're too close that they're like in the splash zone and get hit. Alright, worker robot speed 8. Our worker robots are now officially zooming. Let's go up to 9 so that they can just go extra super duper fast. Because why not? Okay, this has basically everything that we really need it to. It's just some of the weird stuff. Like, the random quality module ones, we don't need those. There's literally no reason to have them. Alright. Spidertron, you come down here with the other guy. And now we have 2 Spidertrons. And they have different weaponry. Alright, so you need... Can I, like... There's some way of coloring you, right? Yes, color. So you are going to be... Actually, I think we want you to be green, because you're technically a non-combatant. You only do the capturing. And then you can just be yellow like you are. That should be fine. Alright, now the 2 of you are going to come down. And let's see here. I guess we... Can we just... Do we have a satellite in this area so that we can just see better? Doesn't seem like it. Let's just get one in. And these guys are probably not carrying satellites, because why would they be? Okay, so... Yeah, we're just gonna go out and see what happens. So we need the... Do the capture bot rockets have a longer range? Does it say... Does it say range? Creates 1 capture bot, but it doesn't say how far it has to go. Okay, so there are some biters coming out here, and they're just gonna get rocketed and just laser zapped as well. So that is fine. It might not be the most secure thing ever. So let's set up a laser turret area here. So we just have something like this going in. And then the Spidertrons, no, these have been assigned to bots which are very far away. Of course they have. So yeah, we want to do actually a lot of this just like out of range of drone connections, just so that we don't have to wait for anything. The Spidertrons with 2 of them together should be able to build whatever we need. Alright, so that... We're just 1 power pole short of having this laser back up here. Alright, there we go. It should be secure enough, right? I mean, we've got a Spidertron or 2 as well. Okay, let's see what happens if I just send them both in at once. So this is another batch of 3 nests. Alright. That is partially successful. However, we're not doing a super great job. I guess it works. Yeah, okay. So the worms and everything have been dealt with. The nests didn't take that much damage, all things considered. And now they've popped. Alright, cool. So, now we just need to honestly just belt this down from here. We're using Gleba logic here, which is kind of annoying to do here on Novice, but it's fine. So those come under there. And then we just have this belt go all the way through here to our new setup. And there we go. So something like that. And then this is somehow facing the wrong direction, because of course it is. Okay, let's just then... Okay, we need to, like, fix this so that it's facing the right direction. So that all goes down that way. This comes out this way, then, so that we don't have to change them all back, you can loop around into there. And then this can go up here, all the way over this way. Super long distance belts. What fun. I don't know, maybe this is worth doing a train for, but like, we kind of need the loop to be the way that it is. Alright, so that is mostly across. Now we just need to get it into the actual things. So we need you, and you to have inputs. And then this just goes like that. And then, no, not quite like that. Then you go down to there. And then up over to there. And then like that. Okay, so then those are going to need to be powered up, which is going to require a nice long power line all the way up to there. Alright, and now hopefully we can get all of this done and built up before the nests break. So these just run along. And just a little bit more, and we should be clear, right? There we go. So now the bioflux is heading down that way. And boy, is that going to take it a while. Alright, let's get the Spidertrons back down there, just in case. But it should be cleared. Oh wait, no, we didn't quite get the power connected. So let's do that. Alright, so now the power is connected. The inserters can feed them. And here comes the bioflux. And they are now being fed. Very cool. So now we get this going up, and yeah, probably some sort of dedicated rail line for this would be more convenient, especially because we're going to have to be adding more than this. I don't know why it keeps swapping the side around. Alright, so then this is going to be the biter eggs, which are just going to come back up this way. And yeah, while we're doing insane long distance belt placing, we might as well do it here. I don't know if this will actually get the biter eggs to where they need to be faster or slower than just having them hop on a drone port. But I like the idea of this whole area being largely not drone powered. Alright, so this then goes up like that, and the eggs go out. Okay, there are biters actually very, very close to us, so we need to set up defenses, like, immediately, because we are probably, like, a minute and a half away from being attacked. Alright, so these all go in, and then they go in down to there, and they all get powered up. And then let's get just a couple extras, just in case something weird happens. Speaking of something weird happens, the bioflux isn't making it back properly. Oh, because this is also still facing the wrong way. So we just need to do that so that the bioflux loop happens again. And then we need to, now that that is defended, we need to get all of these belts in so that the biter eggs... Okay, these guys are officially out of belts, so we're not going to be doing that. Alright, so yeah, let's then just get the drone coverage into this area so that, you know, it's always useful to have drone coverage just for repairing defenses and the like. Can't really go without it super easily. So the Spidertrons, can you please have the Spidertrons be the one to put that in? And have the Spidertrons be the one to put that in. Alright. So that drone port is covered. Now we bring you a little bit further over to there. And all of these have been assigned. How long do the biter eggs have? Like 20 minutes or something? 30 minutes? That's probably fine. It's kind of spooky, but probably okay. So let's just get a couple more drone ports in. Those should be close enough to each other to not break anything. Alright, so yeah, those are connected up to each other. They should also reach up to there pretty easily once that's in. And then this whole area is set up. So, the other thing we need in this area is we need a rocket turret. Just like... Gosh, seeing the rocket turret's range is so hard when there's all this other stuff in. Let's see, rocket turret just somewhere like that ought to do. You get a requester chest, which is going to request the capture bot rockets. And then that whole thing is going to be powered up. So if these do eventually pop because we don't have any bioflux, we can automatically recapture them. So that is that. And it looks like this belt did get fully built. So this gigantic wave of biter eggs is going to go through. And that should be all good to go. Now our bioflux supply, we don't have any spares. So over to Gleba. What's going on here? We do need constant supply of fresh bioflux. Let's set this up to... Let's set that up to 400 just in case. We should still have enough for that. Shouldn't make a huge difference if we don't. Alright, where's that attack? That was against this wall? Okay, that's weird. So I guess step 1, extra security, add in a couple more laser turrets. And we definitely need double walls around here. Like that. And then where did they come from? It's got to be like these guys, I guess. Okay. They're trying to restock these Spidertrons from all the way to down here. That seems very impractical, but whatever. Alright, so the rocket tower is in, its ammo isn't yet. Can we just like get you to just go out and wipe out that one worm, which is like right there? There. Alright, we also wiped out a nest, but that's fine. We can just... There's still plenty of nests in this area for us to grab. And that one annoying worm, which was like barely, almost within range, is now gone. So that's all sorted out. And this is now going to be sending up a whole lot of biter eggs. And our resupplies are coming through. Not that we need them down here in this corner, but at least we have them. Okay, so that should be at least a little bit better on the biter egg side. On the copper side, we are actually pretty low. So the copper supply isn't doing great. Iron supply is mostly fine. So iron supply is mostly fine. Copper supply is kind of bad. Red circuit supply. We're up to 39 epic quality modules. That is fantastic. That is like the best thing ever. Then up here, we've got 4 of them. Could be worse. It does mean that we can strategically pick a machine to make extra efficient, which it looks like it should still be something off of the plastic chain. Alright, so this is the coal supply, and we are theoretically most of the time getting the whole thing. It's just that this is also our primary source of coal for the train network, which means there are gaps sometimes. But yeah, this is going well. We're getting our coal through, and that's going into productivity moduled plastic, which is pretty cool. And this is still going. Okay, let's set this down to like 2 stacks max, because I can't imagine needing more than that. So that is all in. Then this is... yeah, so that the coal's looking fine. The biter eggs are better than they have been, but still not great. See, now we're getting like, yeah, like 170, 180 in at a time. Okay, let's... because we have plenty of them now, let's make sure that those guys are all optimal. So those guys can now be epic quality, which should help a little bit. It's not going to be a huge difference compared to these first couple, which are absolutely critical, but every little bit counts. And this is currently requesting them, and it should be basically forever. So with 4 of these, we can make one thing more productive. There's nothing we can do on the biter egg side of things, so I guess let's see what you look like with extra productivity modules. So that should be more plastic. So previously this was 0.55 to 2. Now the productivity is plus 117. So that's actually kind of a smaller improvement than I was expecting, to go from module 1 to module 4. I thought it was bigger than that. Oh well. It's still a nice improvement. And then we can prioritize our next ones into that machine, which should be should be the primary one. This doesn't say how many products it's finished, though. Oh, no, there it is. It's 1,000, and that's 380. So, yes, this is our primary one. These ones are also about the same, but they had a bit of a head start. So, yeah, that is that. And you already have one of those. So that's an additional 9% productivity, which is pretty cool. I mean, it's just free real estate, basically. Every little bit of free plastic counts. Once we get more of these, we can get even more back in, and then we can really be cooking. So this one, these numbers are super misleading, because obviously this has not made 23,000 of the epic plastic. But it doesn't look like much epic coal is getting past this. So that's fine. Then this, our petroleum gas usage is still very, very poor. And we do technically need some of that stuff for this. So we have 200 light oil here. This only uses like the world's tiniest amount, but it still does use some technically. Alright, so yeah, that's fine. Everything there is looking good. We loop around to this. These guys are all working. And it is somehow possible to get quality on the biter spawners. I think that's later, though. I think there's some, like, Aquilo tech that you have to have for that. Which, I guess, technically is something we need to be thinking about now. Like, at what point are we satisfied here and, like, start moving on to Aquilo? Because, so we have high-quality productivity modules in very small quantities. But if we just go to a new planet and save them up, then we can do a lot with that. But that's basically it. So the other thing which I would want to have would be higher quality, just like assembly machines and that sort of thing, so that we can have that be more efficient. Also, how's the power going? Power is looking fine. Still hovering around 2 gigawatts. And we can produce 3. So that's all good. This coal is actually going down super fast. Like, this was at 400k some just a little bit ago. So even with the productivity modules, the speed modules are certainly draining this. So if we get higher quality big mining drills, that decreases the resource drain, which means at that point just infinite coal basically, or infinite of whatever I put it on. But until then, we're going to need more. And there's a 3.8 million coal node over there, which we can grab. Alright, so let's get that set up. Unless that is something concerning. Okay, that's an attack up on this wall. Okay, our pollution cloud is moving very, very far. Like, we have an artillery piece right here, and we're still getting attacked here. So that's not great. Okay, so this just makes, like, tier 1 productivity modules. Let's just sort of clip that out. So I guess we would, because we would much prefer to just have all the epic productivity modules if we can, and the biter eggs are very, very limited resource right now. So we don't want to be doing all of this with them. Like, we don't want to be torching them. Although maybe just setting this up to be better. Yeah, I think we still do want this a little bit, just to make sure that there is something regularly using all of... all of the biter eggs no matter what, even if something weird happens elsewhere. But what we want to do is have that connected up to there. So actually, no, how does this work? Let me think here. So we need to store the biter eggs for like at least a couple minutes, right? Before just sending them away. We don't want them to be instantly destroyed like that, because that's just wasteful. But how do we get this to just dunk them out every few minutes? We would need like a timer or something. I have a timer in here somewhere, right? A very, very scuffed one, but I have one. So we pop that in. And I think this is where I set how many seconds long I want the timer to be. So let's set this to 120, maybe? We're going to have to get that whole thing built up. Alright, so is this working? So this is going like every second-ish, which is causing this to go every so often. So then this output counts up to that until it hits that, at which point it cycles back down. So if we just get something off of you into there, so you have the output signal of the little timer thing. You are enabled disable on the little clock icon, which is okay. So this goes through the negatives, right? So it goes up to positives and then loops back down to negatives. So this, I think, should like spend 2 minutes of building them up and then 2 minutes of destroying them, or something along those lines, approximately. I'm not entirely sure. I'll have to investigate this with potentially smaller numbers or something. Alright. But it is, I mean, it is just sending them out. Because we do want the tier 1 productivity modules because they're cheap, right? So that's the main advantage they have. So we can just kind of make them and not run out. Whereas with the higher tier ones, we're going to be constantly running out. So we have this all set up. And this is disabled. Alright, this is very slow, but I mean, it technically only needs to fire like every 30 minutes, so it should be fine. So this is still waiting on its extra productivity. So no rush there as long as it is actually working. Which this seems to be going. Okay, we can maybe set this even higher to get all of the biter eggs that we can down to here. And there's a rare one. Come on, get lucky. Get lucky. Get an epic one off of here. No, it doesn't look like it. Ah, well. It's like a 1 in 4. It's like a 1 in 4, followed by a 1 in 4, followed by a 1 in 4, except it's way worse than that, because that's just to get it back. Yeah, the odds are just so bad. The odds are like comedically bad. But that's fine. That's why we can just have that running in the background for a while, hopefully. So now that plastic isn't quite so much of the bottleneck, and it's still not doing great, Also, there's just like this random 2 regular plastic in there, which I need to get rid of. And I think at some point we had a whole bunch of this stuff which didn't quite get set up right. So if we request some of that into here, just like that, so that if anything ends up in the storage network somehow, we can send it right back in. And then I think we have a similar issue with the rares. So you can do that and go in. So once these are in, we should see a good chunk of higher quality coal get sent into this. Alright, so yes, we have 32 of that stuff in logistic storage. And probably a fair bit more of the rare stuff as well, because I was also removing that. So that should be on its way. Although I don't know where it is. So this, we've got 263 of the rares. Okay, now, did any of that wound up getting picked up by these Spidertrons over here? Do you have any? Do you have any? None of the rare stuff. Alright, so that should then just propagate through. And we've got 30 of this stuff on the way. There we go. So this will get us a whole lot of plastic real quick. And then obviously stop immediately after, but every little bit counts. Alright, there we go. So that is that. And this has a whole bunch of that on its way, which will also help a bit. And yeah, the plastic supply up here is backlogging past all sorts of things. Plastic supply up here doing no such thing, but we did seemingly get another wave of productivity modules in. So this is now 136% productive, which is not a trivial difference. It's like 0.03 per second more red circuits, which still seems kind of bad, but really isn't at all. So these guys have a fluid ingredient shortage. Oh, they have a fluid ingredient shortage because this guy doesn't have a way of getting rid of its barrels. Alright, so you just go there, and then active provider chest away. And then we'll be getting a whole lot more of this. So this can use, theoretically, 0.3 red circuits per second. And so this should still produce net red circuits, even if this is running. Which is good, because we were just about out of those. It's good that I caught those. And obviously that is going to output a comedically high amount of sulfuric acid per second. And we're good. So these can start moving again and taking their high quality green circuits, which we've actually got a stockpile of now. Alright, so that is all going. And what's this attack up in this corner again? Okay, we need to do something about that. So we need to just get a forward positioned artillery outpost, or potentially a couple of them. Alright, so then this one can go like out to there. And hopefully that should be good spacing for everything. Alright, so if we're out this far, I kind of want to go out to like here by this lake might be a reasonable spot to put it, just sort of central controlling this whole area. Alright, so this Roboport is in. And this one is just a little bit out of its reach. So that should also be getting placed in any second now. This whole area should be mostly clear of biters because of these artillery pieces keeping them back, except for when they launch their little raids. And yeah, we are pretty consistently getting hit along this northern area now. We might also need one up there-ish to deal with these guys, but this one is more urgent, I think. Alright, so now that drone port is in. We go up to there and get our power connection across to it, which apparently is going to need a bit of work, so we just do that. I should probably just get a Spidertron up there. Yeah, whichever one. This is the rocket one, right? Yes, it is. So you just walk up there and try to get dibs on all the placements so that it can be a little bit faster. So up you go. Did I accidentally antagonized a small cluster of biters? That's fine. So up you go. Almost there. And we have that out already. Alright, we're just going to let the Spidertron get into the region so that it can call dibs on everything. So first off, we get the drone port up there. And then we get power poles connecting back. And apparently we didn't get dibs on that one. There we go. So that is much better. And this is probably far forwards enough for now. So we just go... Where's artillery outpost blueprint? And I guess because we can, we'll push it even a little bit further forwards because that's just generally helpful for this. And then connect it up like so. And so all of this is getting built by the Spidertron. The rest of it is going to have to get built by the drones because we don't have the artillery guns or anything. I guess what we should do is take that out and put it back in from here so that we can just get those assigned faster. And then that should control most of this entire region. And that should be cool. So just get that in. Right. Artillery range is quite far. That should cover like all of this. I wish there was a way of showing like manual artillery range, but it's automatic range of 200 of like 400 some. And I don't know how big these squares are across. So the green squares are 110 by 110. So the automatic range would be like, yeah, probably out to there-ish. We might need to upgrade our artillery range. Or just spam some manual shots out. Alright, it's already shooting. Very nice. So that should just get all that covered. We're going to move the Spidertron back a little bit, because it's not that strong in combat compared to this giant massive laser turrets. So we'd much rather just leave that to other stuff. So this gets 10 shots delivered at a time, and the Spidertron helped out and possibly damaged a laser turret in the process. Alright, a little bit further back, Spidertron. We don't want you getting involved here. Okay, the security on this isn't the greatest. It's not terrible by any means. But I do kind of want a second wall. And also to get rid of that random power pole there. Alright, that should be more than enough. Alright. Yeah, it is obviously kind of tempting to just, like, grab these for biter eggs, but I think our biter egg section is going to be this area down here, pretty much. Like, we're going to go out and grab some of these nests. And then also maybe just... there is some way of moving them around, which would be very, very convenient. Like, with later technology. Alright, so that is going. So hopefully that artillery piece will get all that stuff clear. We have more productivity modules here. We've got one extra. Only one extra, but still, that's pretty cool. This one has made 9 so far. This one has made 85 of these. That's a lot. Alright, yep, there's going to be all sorts of crazy stuff going on up here. Losing the occasional laser turret is not really a concern. So how do the... what are they called? Tesla turrets even work? Electrocutes a nearby enemy. Damage 120 electric. Shooting speed 0.5 per second. Now the lasers are like a fifth, but they're also way, way faster. But these are AoE with low chance. Alright, that seems... I mean... it seems worse, right? Because that's like 100 damage. It's technically slightly longer range, but it's... this is 100 damage and shoots like 4 times per second. This is 120 damage and shoots every 2 seconds. So unless you get that max jump, like, unless you're getting a ton of jumps in there, it doesn't seem worth it, especially to set up a whole new production line for it. Who knows, though? Maybe I'm wrong. Alright. So this is now shooting all the way over to here and clearing out those guys. So that's cool. Is this secure enough? I don't feel confident that these walls are going to hold up to attack. So let's make sure that these are double walled all the way around back to here, where I guess it doesn't really matter, but we will enclose this area a little bit. And then this place needs to be super secure because it's got the biter nests, which are difficult to recapture if something happens to them. So we're just going to have a whole bunch of laser turrets just everywhere. Alright. So there should be basically no way for this place to be destroyed unless it gets cut off from power. And I can help with that scenario by just spamming some accumulators in here. Where are the accumulators? There they are. Alright, so if I just put in something like this, and then connect it all up to a couple of substations. So now, this place will be holding at least a decent chunk of our power storage. So even if like a biter comes and chops off this electrical pole, we'll still be able to do like something kind of down here. I mean, it's not going to be great, and it's not going to last for super long, but if it keeps us from getting destroyed while we rebuild the electrical pole, then that's worth it. Oh, wait, that's the wrong Spidertron. No, you don't need to go all the way down there. You can just hang out in the base. This Spidertron is the one I want you to... No, wait, stop it. I could have sworn I selected the new one. select you. Go. Okay. How do I unselect the other one? Control left click and wait, no, that's not what I want anymore. Gosh dang. All right, I guess he's going back down there. It's not worth fixing. All right, so this, at any rate, is now more or less built. And all right, you can finish off that last little bit. That's fine. All right, so now this area should be mostly secure against incoming attacks. And also the benefit is we're not keeping the biter eggs down here, which means if something goes wrong and something explodes, it'll mostly all just explode up in this area, which at least will keep things contained, right? So we don't have 20 different spots where there's suddenly a bunch of biters destroying everything. If it explodes, it's going to be here or like in one of the places where we use them to make modules. So speaking of which, that's up to 2 productivity modules to spare. So let's get those in to there, because that's the other place that uses our somewhat limited supply of plastic, although it might be catching up now at this point. See, we don't have any storage per se, but we are doing better for the plastic than we were, and I think copper might actually be the limiting factor now. Yeah, so copper cables, we're going to need to expand that. We can do a tiny bit of expansion with just having more of these guys in, but for the most part we're just going to be extending this out, and I guess we can make some of these guys epic quality, right? We've got a good number of those now. So just like the ones which are going to be used the most, we're going to assign those. And hopefully that will help our copper supply a little bit. It's still like pretty decent, all things considered. And it will continue to be at this 4 per second-ish mark until that goes through. I guess this is productivity module working with Epic, so you can get upgraded. And yeah, we don't have quite enough for that, but some of it can go in. Alright, so this is slightly improved. The iron plates supply is holding out a lot longer, although it is also running down. So we're going to have to fix that. And then it's just sort of expanding and adding new things and expanding and adding new things forever. Alright. But yeah, this is great progress. I think we're going to wrap up here. We have a small trickle of productivity module 3s. It's not fast because the stupid biter eggs aren't quick, but it's going pretty well. We have dramatically improved this by switching this over to coal quality making rather than plastic. And we also have actually a stockpile of these ones. Well, we did before we used them all. But yeah, we have 2 spares of these to throw into whatever machines need them next. So, that was good progress for today. Tomorrow we are back to Satisfactory, where we are still working on the neural quantum processor stuff, or more realistically, various tasks adjacent to that, like we're getting rubber fixed and aluminum, and hopefully we'll be actually starting on the factory itself. But once we do start on that factory itself, it'll be pretty quick because of how much stuff we're importing, so that'll be fun. But yeah, so I'll be doing Satisfactory tomorrow, back to Factorio on Friday, as usual. I stream every weekday from 2 to 5. So, if you haven't already, make sure to follow, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks for hanging out.